Hello! Gaming has changed a lot since 1989, when I got my Nintendo Entertainment System with Super Mario Bros. And Duck Hunt. Back then, I had a small library of games, a small TV, and a whole lot of fun. Today, I have a huge library of games, a huge TV, but am I still having a whole lot of fun? Why, yes, I am. But it wasn't always this way. In fact, I hear some other gamers were more happy about playing video games as a kid than as an adult. This is strange considering now, as adults, we have access to more games, access to more peripherals, and we can now choose the games we want to play. What happened? Some people say it's the games that have changed. If we could just make games like the old days, everything would be fine. However, old style games like Shovel Knights are still being made today. And if that doesn't suit you, we still have a relatively good access to a catalog of tens of thousands of retro games that aren't going anywhere. We could play retro games until retirement, and we would still have more retro games to play. Some people say we have changed. After all, it's been decades, and we're not the same person as last year. I would say this is a probable reason. If playing video games just doesn't interest you anymore, that's totally okay. I used to eat nerds candy, and I no longer eat nerds candy. It doesn't mean nerds aren't amazing anymore. They are. However, I just don't care about them as much because now I have better alternatives, like pizza. The purpose of gaming is to have fun, and if you have more fun doing something else, why not? However, if you still somewhat enjoy games, but you're lacking the excitement and spark and are trying to chase the childhood feeling, you're probably not alone. I can confidently say that there are probably many factors limiting your enjoyment that you probably aren't even aware of. The first possibility is because our changing appreciation of games. When I was a kid, gaming had a sense of scarcity. I could only convince my mom to buy so many games a month. We knew that the games in our closet were the only games available to us for the foreseeable future. If we wanted another game, we would have to wait until our birthday or Christmas. For many kids in the 1980s and 1990s, we had plenty of time and few games. In other words, we didn't have enough games to play for the time we had. This forced us to replay games even after we beat them. Now, as adults, we have little time and lots of games. We don't have enough time to play all the games we have. The time is now the bottleneck. The perception of scarcity is going to influence how we value things. As a general rule, our privileges are invisible to us until they are gone. For example, I don't know about you, but I love toilet paper. However, most people aren't aware of how much they love toilet paper unless there was a shortage a few years ago. When you ask the average person, how happy does toilet paper makes you? Most people don't even associate toilet paper with happiness. On the other hand, the lack of toilet paper would make them extremely angry. Toilet paper loses its ability to make people happy and only has the capacity of bringing unhappiness by becoming a requirement to sustain a neutral state. Here is a curious question. What is more plentiful, toilet paper or video games? I would say that video games are even more plentiful than toilet paper. We may run out of toilet paper this year and have to go buy more, but we will likely never run out of games to play this year. Games are everywhere. You can get access to hundreds of AAA games for free, and thousands more free games if you're willing to play AA games. You can get dozens of games for a couple dollars on Humble Bundle, loads of games in Steam sales, and even free games every week on the Epic Store. Every game is screaming for us to play it. I love to watch a YouTube channel called Retro Game Cores. I recommend you check them out if you're interested in handheld emulation gaming. Russ from the channel once reviewed a super small handheld device, the size of a chicken nugget, that could play any game up to and including PlayStation 1. At first, he didn't enjoy the device because it was extremely uncomfortable to play. He couldn't find a use case for this handheld until one day he deleted all of the games on the device except for Pokemon Crystal. After all the games were removed, the device magically became fun. You might think Russ was silly in limiting the device to just one game. How can one game be more fun than thousands? Yet limiting your games could artificially bring back the sense of value and scarcity that is lacking nowadays. It brings back focus, purpose, intention, and immersion. There are numerous threads on Reddit that also struggle with the problems of having too many games to play. Instead of bringing joy, it brings anxiety of handling such a huge collection, the fear of missing out, intrusive thoughts that we could be playing a different game, or a sense of dissatisfaction that we chose the wrong game to play. What is the solution? Some Redditors have suggested people to only install 5 games on the PC at a time. This helps us focus on the games we are playing instead of being sidetracked by the games we could be playing. Okay, so let's say you aren't bothered by the overwhelming choice of games. What now? This brings us to our second point, which is lack of immersion. Some games takes all of your attention and lets you be immersed in the game, while others allow you to play the game semi-passively and do other things, like watch Netflix, sports, or even another game stream. Dark Souls and Half-Life Alyx are examples of an immersive game, while AFK Journey is an example of a game that can be played while distracted. Different games require different levels of concentration, and that's fine. The issue is when you have a level of distraction that prevents you from fully enjoying your current game. There are many types of distraction. This video could be a distraction. Your itchy skin could be a distraction. The fact that your boss could call you anytime could be a distraction. The worry about your kids, your work, your cleanliness of your home, the state of your finances or relationship, the battery life left on your phone, your unread messages, the status of your Facebook post, or even world news can be a distraction. Adults have no shortage of things to be distracted about. Even if you are able to block off all the distractions and focus, you could still be roused out of your immersive state at a moment's notice when real life calls. I personally think immersive games are on the decline because much of the gaming population are not able to focus anymore. We have a bunch of semi-immersive games, or even games that are nothing but a mild distraction. Even if we were to attempt to play only immersive games, we still can't get immersed due to real life. This is definitely going to reduce the fun we get out of video games. My final point is the lack of intimacy both with our games and the people who share our gaming passion. I feel that in the past, people took their time to really get to know the games in their collection, partially due to scarcity. I used to watch a YouTube series called Angry Video Gaming Nerd. In the show, Dave was making fun of how bad the games in his childhood were. Yet because we were stuck with such games, we played them anyways, despite being frustrated. Do you remember what was the first enemy in Super Mario Bros.? What about the first enemy in Final Fantasy XIII? Many people remember the first enemy in Super Mario Bros. Because we had to pass that Goomba every time we booted the game. The game, by design, required you to get past the enemy again and again. On the other hand, Final Fantasy XIII wasn't designed for you to replay again and again, and once you finished it, you probably have another game lined up. We became intimate with the first Goomba of Super Mario, but not with the first enemy of Final Fantasy XIII, whatever it was. These days, when I play video games, I have an exit strategy already before I begin to play, mostly for when I beat the game or when I get the Platinum Trophy. I never had exit strategies when playing as a kid. Even if I quit the game, I knew I would come back to it eventually. We also have a lack of real-life interaction with people who you can share your game knowledge with. Sure, online play is amazing, but couch co-op is nearly dead. In the old days, you could go to school to trade Pokemon. But depending on where you work, your office might not be the best place to trade Pokemon. The arcades used to be a social hub for gamers, and they're mostly gone. We've been talking for a while a lot about negative things, but it's not all doom and gloom. The future of gaming is very bright. There are so many new great games out every year, and none of the older games have lost their shine, except for live service games and games that are difficult to preserve, which is another topic for another time. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like to see similar videos, you can give a thumbs up, leave a comment, and wait for new videos to appear. I appreciate your time, and see you next video.